chairperson of Pulmonary Hypertension Association of South Africa, and mom of Callista Greeff, a patient diagnosed in 2013 when he was a baby, and he's just turned 13 years old. But it's like 13 years of stories. There's so many stories, you know. So since he was diagnosed shortly after birth and had other birth defects as well, but we were thankful that he was diagnosed quite early, which had a big influence on his early treatment and prognosis, but had very high pulmonary pressures. We moved to lower altitude area when he was 3 years old because we were staying in a high altitude area, and initially when he was diagnosed there was very little known about the condition in South Africa, so education around the disease and treatment options wasn't freely available. So the doctors, thankfully we had amazing doctors who really did research, and access to treatment was the initial monotherapy for the first few years. I think about 3 years before we moved to a dual therapy, which made a big difference. So he is still on dual therapy, but I think in terms of access to care, we are on medical aid. So in South Africa you have either private care or government care, and approvals is difficult, so that was a lot of authorizations and a full-time job on its own. So that, I think, woke up the advocate in me, realizing how much advocacy is needed for there to be continuation in care. Many patients have gaps in their treatment because of approvals and declines in between approvals. So then you have treatment and then there's gaps before you have treatment again, which is crazy. So we are thankful that at some stage, just before COVID and lockdown, we had just gone on our dual therapy care, and then it was imported from a different country, which was then a Section 21 medication, and then they couldn't import it because of COVID-19 and restrictions and the world's logistical craziness. So that was a very crazy period where we actually had someone that had extra medication and helped us with that because he had just started on it. So to then suddenly have no medication would have been very dangerous. So we're very thankful for that. And even on oxygen, so he was on oxygen for the first 5 years of his life permanently, and then when he went to school he would be not on medication, on oxygen, and then after school he would be on oxygen again. So just mobility and oxygen machines, because it is a continuous flow oxygen machine, which is scarcer and much more expensive, so the medical aid didn't want to cover that. So we had a lot of advocacy situations around that, and them saying it's a luxury to be able to go out of the house. So many crazy stories around that, but there has been some great advancements in care and access to care in South Africa, but still a lot of work to be done. We still don't really have a center of excellence and multidisciplinary care in one space. You have to find doctors and people, and they don't really necessarily communicate with each other and understand the landscape in equal measures, which makes a difference. So that's something that we would love to help establish in South Africa, well, for all the patients. I think what changes in treatment, obviously a cure. To have something, and I think it's amazing how treatments are advancing where there is possible reversal of the condition. So if I had a magic wand, I would definitely have a reversal and an instant cure where you could be active. Like my son obviously is a boy who would love to play sports and belong and be running with his friends, and I think if I had a magic wand I would give that to him to just be free and running and belonging with his friends. I think anyone who is in a position that needs the care realizes the urgency of the change that's needed in terms of just centralized care of practitioners that treat the same condition and understand the nuances and the challenges of it. and have the time to talk about patients and really move faster. Essentially, the change needed in the different landscapes around treatment and cost of treatment and accessibility to the right type of treatment, and even pulmonary rehabilitation, which is something that's many times not approved but has such a major impact on quality of life and even reversing some of the kind of severity of the condition. The change that's needed around just the awareness in the medical community as well as general community to get better diagnostics, to be diagnosed earlier for better patient outcomes. So I think the change and the urgency around that is not a luxury. I think that's a necessity for anyone, knowing that you are fighting against time, and the earlier you get diagnosed, the better your outcome could be. So you don't really have time to wait for the change to happen. My name is Callista Greeff, and I advocate for patients with pulmonary hypertension.